Did you know that Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared held a dinner party the day after the January 6th attack on the nation's capital? What did she and her guests talk about? The answer may surprise you. Ivanka Trump and her husband, Jared Kushner, appeared to be pretty elitist when her father was in office, as they allegedly refused to allow their Secret Service officers to use any of the bathrooms in their home, per the Washington Post. The couple paid a pretty penny for the large home, $15,000 per month to be exact, according to the Wall Street Journal. The couple was blessed with 6 bathrooms in their mansion, which sat in the swanky neighborhood of Kalorama in Washington, D.C., but they reportedly kept all the toilets to themselves whenever their protection officers were around. This left the officers having to drive a mile to the official home of the vice president, which has a facility for guards. And when they simply couldn't hold it, they sometimes had to count on the kindness of neighbors and local restaurants. The final month of Donald Trump's presidency started ominously. Before his infamous Twitter ban, the former president tweeted "Happy New Year," but still refused to concede that Joe Biden had won the 2020 election.
We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved.
And as the days marched closer to Biden's January 20th inauguration, it became clear that Donald Trump wasn't going to budge on his opinion of the election. On January 6th, Trump's supporters stormed the U.S. Capitol building in Washington, D.C. Some believe he was egging them on, with statements including,
"If you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore."
And as the protest turned into a riot, which turned into an attempted insurrection, Ivanka Trump sent out a tweet that left pundits confused. The former president's daughter wrote, "American patriots, any security breach or disrespect to our law enforcement officers is unacceptable. The violence must stop immediately. Please be peaceful." White House correspondent Kate Bennett responded on Twitter by asking Ivanka if she was calling the Capitol rioters patriots. Ivanka then wrote this reply, "No, peaceful protest is patriotic. Violence is unacceptable and must be condemned in the strongest terms." While many Americans spent January 7th wondering what the heck had just happened and what the outgoing administration might do to fix things, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner opted to throw a dinner party. This tidbit comes courtesy of the book Betrayal: The Final Act of the Trump Show by Jonathan Karl. According to the book, the conversation centered on the idea of creating a new think tank to promote free market economics in a way that would appeal to Democrats. Remarkably, there was no mention of the fact that a mob had just stormed the Capitol days earlier, ransacking the offices of Democratic leaders and trying to prevent the certification of Joe Biden's election victory. But the party atmosphere may not have extended much farther than January 7th. Ivanka and Kushner became unwelcomed in New York after Donald Trump left office, according to CNN. It's important to hit every segment of the population when campaigning for political office. And for the Trumps, that apparently includes the musician Loaf of Paradise by the Dashboard Light fame. While Ivanka Trump and her father Donald Trump were flying to Georgia to campaign for some fellow Republicans, Ivanka tweeted a selfie. It showed a beaming Ivanka and her distracted dad with the caption, "Off to Georgia with Dad. Get out and vote, Georgia." Ivanka tagged 5 accounts on the tweet: the Republican Party's official Twitter, then GOP candidates Kelly Loeffler and David Perdue of Georgia, Trump administration member Dan Scavino Jr., and late musician Loaf. Ivanka never explained the tag, but Loaf, who is from Texas, did tell Rolling Stone he voted for Donald in the 2016 presidential race. According to the Daily Mail, the singer also once called one of Trump's Twitter targets, climate activist Greta Thunberg, quote, "brainwashed."
How dare you!
According to Express, Loaf became friends with Donald and Ivanka Trump when he appeared on Celebrity Apprentice in 2011. However, Loaf said their friendship soured after he failed to give Donald a ringing endorsement when asked whether he'd make a good president. It's unclear whether the Trumps and the singer buried the hatchet before Loaf's tragic death in January 2022, and Ivanka's reasons for including him in the tweet remain a mystery. As the Trump presidency drew to a close, Donald Trump's questionable comments about his daughter's attractiveness became only the 9th or 10th weirdest thing about him.
That if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her, you know.
But Ivanka Trump decided to bring them back to the front of everyone's minds after the 2020 election, when she delivered a gushing speech about how awesome her dad is.
And it's so great to be back in Georgia with this warrior, my father. The people's president.
Joe Biden had just won the state of Georgia in the 2020 presidential election, so Ivanka raised some eyebrows by referring to her father as a, quote, tireless champion for all of you, in a state he lost. Ivanka's complimentary speech about her dad also brought to mind his propensity for publicly piling on the praise for her, but at least she finally returned the favor. It seemed like Donald and Ivanka Trump were closer than ever when he left office. But shortly after, Ivanka and her husband, Jared Kushner, allegedly realized that their status as former Trump White House employees made them outcasts in most high society circles. Donald would complain for many hours about the election results, according to a CNN report, and refused to accept that he'd lost. This led Ivanka and Kushner to distance themselves from the former POTUS. They even reportedly skipped some big Trump family events in the months after Biden took office. Despite their efforts, though, high society hasn't welcomed them back with open arms as of February 2022. They attended a Louis Vuitton fashion show in December 2021, and the online reaction was pretty negative. Journalist Marlo Stern called their appearance, quote, just too much. And designer Batshava Hay told the New York Times the fashion world is pretty ready to shun her. No one is going to lend Ivanka clothing. She'll have to buy it covertly at retail. Will Ivanka Trump ever run for office? There's rampant speculation from GOP sources that she will, but she keeps insisting that she has no plans. In 2021, Politico reported, Jared Kushner is working single-mindedly to protect and promote his wife's political career. This allegedly included calling people to tell them that newly minted Florida resident Ivanka Trump would be a better senator than the Sunshine State's current member of the upper chamber, Marco Rubio. It's hard to imagine that the popular Rubio was worried about this political neophyte taking his place, despite her last name. But Ivanka still decided to put those rumors to bed by allegedly calling Rubio personally and telling him not to worry. Still, there are reports that Ivanka and Kushner have a pact that she'll be the one to run for president, according to Michael Wolff's book, Fire and Fury Inside the Trump White House. She has even entertained the idea of being the first female president. Furthermore, Vanity Fair suggested that Donald Trump might make Ivanka his 2024 running mate. So perhaps there's no need for her to waste time in the Senate. Ivanka Trump remains slippery when it comes to her personal politics, which she rarely comments on. She does say she's unapologetically anti-abortion, per Real Clear Politics, which aligns with her dad's base. Other than that, she has tried to appeal to both political parties. At the 2016 Republican National Convention, she said,
like many of my fellow millennials, I do not consider myself categorically Republican or Democrat.
But her dad's win and subsequent bid for re-election somehow changed her mind. Ivanka told the New York Times in March 2020, I am a proud Trump Republican. The confusion continued when she posted a vaccine selfie amid the COVID-19 pandemic. As Reuters noted, opposition to vaccines has become a rallying cry for Donald Trump's base. That said, the base was not thrilled about Ivanka's vaccine posts. She tweeted and Instagrammed the photo with the caption, "Today I got the shot. I hope that you do too. Thank you, Nurse Torres." As Vanity Fair pointed out, the move backfired, seeing as getting the COVID-19 vaccine and boosters are considered outside of the mainstream Republican Party's values. One Twitter user opined, "Sad that you and others would even condone this. Can't wait for Americans to wake up." And Ivanka was even bolder when she got her second jab, writing, "Getting fully vaccinated is the best way to end this pandemic and protect ourselves and one another." Before and during Donald Trump's tenure in office, it seemed like one of Ivanka Trump's most cherished goals was to steadily build her profile as an Instagram influencer. Her feed was full of run-of-the-mill TBTs and lovely lifestyle shots. But now that she's just a private citizen living in Florida, her Instagram has gone largely unused. In her first year after vacating her 6-bathroom Washington, D.C. rental, Ivanka only posted to Instagram 4 times. Once to commemorate a food drive she helped with, twice to reveal her vax status, and once to tell the American public thanks for the memories on her family's way out of the Oval Office. It seems Ivanka and husband Jared Kushner haven't just moved to distance themselves from her dad, as CNN pointed out, but also from the public. So So why the reason for this once avid Instagrammer's extended social media cleanse? There's speculation that Ivanka is prepping to either turn on her dad, according to The Guardian, or join him on the 2024 presidential ticket, according to Vanity Fair. In other words, no one knows what the heck the former first daughter has up her sleeve, but you can probably put your money on it being bizarre. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.